What is up, everyone? It's Derek Vandalinder here, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how I trade divergence. Now, I don't trade divergence in the typical way that I think a lot of people do trade divergence. I have a very specific set of rules on the way I trade it, and the only way that I will trade it is based on these rules, okay? So let's get started here. I want to thank you guys for being here. After this video, you should have everything that you didn't need to know about how I trade divergence, okay? So let's get started here, and let's get to learning. Now, what is divergence in the Forex market? Okay, so divergence is when price of an asset is moving in the opposite direction as our technical indicator. Now, in our case, it would be as our RSI. So let's say price is making a high. Now, this is the qualifications for you to be able to take a divergence trade. We have to make a shark fin, it has to make a retracement, and then it has to make a new high. Now, every one of those points is very important to taking the divergence trade, okay? So in my case, like I said, I use very specific form of divergence before I'll take that trade. And let me go over what I'm looking for. So when looking at bullish divergence, price will make a low, it will make that retracement, and then it will make a new low. Now on that new low, if we have confluence in the market, if we have everything lined up, how it needs to be lined up, then we'll take that trade, okay? So what's gonna happen is our RSI is gonna create that low, but when the market creates that new low, our RSI is not gonna line up with what's going on in the actual chart. That's showing us divergence, which is an indication that a possible reversal is going to happen, okay? So now, looking at bearish divergence, what is going to happen is price is going to make a high, it's going to make a retracement, and then make a new high above that previous high. Now, when that happens, we need to have the first leg of the divergence move. It has to be a shark fin right there. And then the second leg has to make that divergence right there. So what's going to happen is our RSI is going to create a high, but when the market creates a new high, the RSI is going to show the opposite. And that's important within this trading setup, okay? So this is an example of bullish divergence, meaning the market's going to start going bullish after this divergence plays out. So one, we make that low, we make that shark fin low right here, and this is important. It has to be a shark fin either below the 25 or above the 75 in the opposite case, okay? So we made our first shark fin, and now we're making that retracement. And the reason why the retracement is so important, because it shows us that buyers are interested in the market, okay? And that's important. We want to see bigger candles in that retracement because that means that people are interested in buying the market. So when it does that and then makes that new low, we still have people interested in that buying market, okay? So market makes the low, gives us the retracement, and makes that new low, okay? Now, how we can read this is divergence. As you can see, price is clearly higher than right here, but on our RSI, price is lower than right here, okay? So it doesn't line up. That's indicating that it's divergent, and price is going to reverse off that divergence right there. Now we have a bearish divergence, meaning the market's going to drop. So what we have here is we have the market made its high, shark fin high above the 75 right here. Now it made that retracement, coming up and smashing above the previous high right here, giving us a new high. Now I want you to take note on what the Bollinger Bands are doing right here. Notice how wide they are when it makes this new high right here. So when and this is how I utilize Bollinger Bands a lot when I used to trade the 1 minute chart, and I used to scalp these moves all the time. I'd get 7 to 10 pips every day, just trading these two types of moves, the shark fin and the divergence. That's what I first started out on, okay? So what I'm noticing in this trade is that the Bollinger Bands are very wide when it comes up here, and I'm going to show you more about that later on in this video, but I just want you to I wanted to point that out for you guys to show you what these Bollinger Bands are and how they're going to play a role within especially divergence. Now, another thing that I really like is that we have this shark fin above the 70 or above the 75 here, but on the second leg, as you notice right here, the RSI reaches the top of the Bollinger Bands on our TDI. Now, on these types of moves, that's almost 90% of the time going to be the reversal point of the move, especially if we have the RSI come up to the top of that Bollinger Band. As you can see, this trade obviously worked out very well, but I just wanted to point that out for you guys. So I have very many requirements before I'm going to take a divergence trade. Now, it's nothing that I haven't told you before, but the initial first leg of the shark fin or of the trade has to be a shark fin above the 75 or below the 25. Now, the shark fin has to make a decent retracement back into the market, like I said. And then 3, the Bollinger Band should be wide as you're going to take that divergence trade. Of course, we have to have that confluence. Otherwise, there's just no point in trading that. We want to have confluence in every trade and a reason to why we're in that trade, okay? Now, the second swing has to close lower. If we're in if it already made a previous low, it has to close lower than that low. Or when we're made the high, it has to close higher than that previous high on that divergence, okay? On the second leg, always has to be either higher or lower. And again, it has to be founded on market structure, which is very important. So right here, we have that bullish divergence right here. So we have that shark fin right there. It made its retracement. Again, telling us that people are interested in buying the market. Now, it comes down, if you look at the RSI right here, clearly the RSI or the price is higher than right here, but our RSI is showing the opposite. Now, there was structure at this point. Bollinger Bands are wide right here. And let's see how this plays out. Okay. So, as you can see, and this is another thing that I kind of missed right here. So, when I'm trading divergence, it has to touch the bottom Bollinger Band in 95% of the time that I'm trading divergence, unless there's a really beautiful confluence that doesn't need it to come down to the Bollinger Band. But I would never take a divergence if it didn't come down and touch the band. So right here, it's divergent right here, but I want to see it come down and touch the Bollinger Bands. And that's the only way that I'm going to trade it, unless there's just beautiful confluence in that trade. But right here, as you notice, it's climbing down and it hasn't touched the Bollinger Band yet. Well, now it touched the Bollinger Band. Bollinger Band's wide, we're divergent, and let's see exactly what it does. Jumps right off that 2.5 Bollinger Band and clearly just went straight to profit. Now, again, we have the same type of move. We have the shark fin below the 25. It makes that beautiful retracement up to the 50 moving average, comes back down, makes a low. Now, I want you guys to take note on how wide the Bollinger Bands are in this trade. We have clear divergence on our chart. Clearly, price is higher than right here, but on our RSI, it's showing us the opposite, indicating that this is a divergence, and we want to take that buy off of our region that we're looking to buy based on confluence, okay? Again, here's another move. We have structure right here. We have that shark fin. It came down. Bollinger Bands are wide, and it's going to retrace right off of this level, okay? So that's important. That's exactly what I'm looking for within these divergence trades. And as you can see, market just rejected right off that area, giving us a beautiful setup. Again, price is clearly higher right here than right here, but on our RSI, it's showing us the opposite, indicating that it's a divergent move right there. Now, again, this is another move. We have the shark fin below the 25 right here, comes out, makes the retracement. And what do I wait for? I wait for the market to come to the Bollinger Bands where they're wide. And let's see how this trade plays out. As you can see, it rejected right off that bottom Bollinger Band there and just went perfect. Now, in the next videos, what I'm going to be doing is going over, of course, stop loss, take profit, and trade management after the video, after that. But then after those videos are done, we're going to get to the fun stuff. We're going to get to risk management. We're going to get to the confluence video, and we're going to get to psychology. And those are really, really, really important things that are needed to be a self-sufficient trader. And that's just the truth of it. So again, let's go over this trade right here. We have that divergent, or we have that shark fin. It makes that retracement, comes back up, smashes up to the Bollinger Bands. And notice how wide these Bollinger Bands are. The RSI is at the top of the TDI right there, still divergent. Watch how this trade plays out. Very beautiful, very simple stuff. And actually, we just had Bitcoin do the same thing right now. So I'm going to pull up the Bitcoin chart. We're on the daily time frame, and I didn't take this trade, and I wanted to so bad. I actually closed out of all my Bitcoin. I took profit on my Bitcoins because I saw this pattern, and on the higher time frames, like the weekly and the 2 weekly, I saw patterns that are indicating to me that we could have a major correction in the market. And I just didn't want to take the risk. I already made plenty off my Bitcoin. I've been in it for a while now. And I took a lot out. Like I said, it was right around 61, 61.5. I took a lot of my Bitcoin and took profit on them. But let's go over that trade setup right here, so you guys can see what we're looking for. And it's kind of funny actually, because we're now, this is where I would have taken my profit right at the 50 moving average right here. But what I want to indicate to you is we have, it didn't, and this is another thing, it didn't make that first initial shark fin here, but it's the same type of pattern as you can see. So we made that move, didn't make the shark fin unfortunately, but that's okay. And it came down, made that retracement to the new high right there. And as you can see, price is clearly divergent right here, and it made its way down to the 50 moving average, exactly where I would have taken profit on this trade setup. And I should have been in a buy on this trade, but with that pattern right here let me show you on the weekly right here, that scares me. So this pattern really scares me when we have this major candle right here, comes down, makes the low, and then comes up, makes a divergent high right here, and now we're starting to see bearish moves right in here. So I definitely think we can see the market come down if it doesn't break this. If it breaks this area, I think we'll see it come down to around 38 in here. Let me pull this up. We'll probably see it come down to here if it breaks this 8 moving average. So if our next candle breaks below this 8 moving average, likely we're going to see it come down to around 38,000. Which I'm not mad about because we need a correction within Bitcoin, okay? But that's what I'm looking for. And another thing, this is one of my patterns that I have taught for a while that seems to always really play out. But this is on Ethereum USD. Now, this is what I call baby divergence right here. It's a shark fin. Let me pull up the daily. No, wait, it is the two week right here. So this trade setup right here, this scares the shit out of me with your Ethereum, because we have this massive bullish candle right here. We then get a massive bearish candle, and then another massive bullish candle that closes above the bearish candle. Now, in this case, after this candle closes, and if we have a sharp fin formed, this pattern I've taught for a long time, ever since I realized what it just does over and over again. A lot of times this pattern right here will be like a finishing move in the market. So it kind of scares me. Now, it did reject this previous zone right in here. But if it breaks below this, I think we can expect a major correction within Ethereum, okay? So that's just what I'm looking for. And the correction, I mean, I don't exactly know. I mean, I'd have to look it up a little bit more, but we could see around $800 on Ethereum, and that's just off of what I see within this pattern. Now, this is such a parabolic move that these patterns might not play out. And I've kind of learned that the hard way, because we had a massive shark fin on Bitcoin. It showed us a shark fin, and it was a point where it could have been a definite short just based on the pattern of what we're looking at. And I was waiting for a short. I wasn't doing anything within the market because it was moving so crazy. But the market went from $20,000. We had a shark fin formed at $20,000 when Bitcoin was right there. and it rose to 62. So with these types of things, I take it with a grain of salt because there's not enough data showing us how, just looking left, there's not enough data to tell me where this market's going to go. So I'm not going to be in these types of trades on the higher time frames, that is, okay? So we're done with this video right here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned some stuff. Please do do your back testing, do your due diligence. I have a lot of people hitting me up telling me how much they love my strategy and it's working really well for them so far. And if you're new, you have to realize that you don't know the market yet. You don't know the market psychology on why it does certain things. You may know the patterns, but you don't know what the market's actually doing and why it's doing it yet. So just take it slow and try to learn as much as you can about the actual market and why it does the specific things that it does. And you're going to notice that it lines up with the trade setups that we have, okay? So again, take it slow. Everything's going to be good. I have a ton of stuff for you guys that are going to really help you out to become profitable within this strategy. And I'm really excited about it. But again, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and click that bell button so that you're reminded every time I post something. We'll see you in this next video.
Be pulling up. Remember they said I'm not good enough. I took all the energy, turned it to greatness. Now look at my life, man, it's looking amazing.